Did you all have a wonderful lunch? Yes, I had a wonderful time at lunch. I'm pleasantly surprised by everything. You guys do everything so well. I feel like I'm at home. I thought I'd be missing out on my Jamaican cooking, but I'm not. Yeah, I thought I was missing out on my Jamaican hospitality. I'm not. Everything here is just so warm, nice, and lovely. I'm telling my wife I might not come back home. All right, so this evening we have 1 hour for another marathon presentation, a very important one. This one is going to form the basis for many of the things that you learn going forward. This presentation concerning your gut underpins every aspect of your health. There is no part of your body, of your biology, of your anatomy that is not dependent on a functioning gut or gastrointestinal tract. That's where you are fed, and every part of your body needs to be fed properly to be functional. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the presentation is titled, Fix This and Fix Almost Everything. And that's not an exaggeration. There are so many diseases that you can fix by getting your gut right. And that's why tomorrow in our challenge, we're going to start by fixing the gut. And this evening, you're going to understand why. As I said this morning, we're going to be focusing on 3 main areas: what causes disease, how to fix, how they develop, and how to fix them. And this evening, we're going to go right into an important aspect of gut health. Now, gut health is going to be an eye-opener for many of you. It's going to reveal some things that you never thought was even possible. The question this evening, the one this morning, you all got it right. This one is bacteria in your gut can control your thoughts, yes or no. Yes. All the questions are not going to be yes, I hope you know that. So it is yes, all right. And so you're going to wait for that answer to know if it's right. Now, I must tell you a story, and I'm going to try to tell a little story each time. And this story is very personal to me. It concerns someone who's very close. It was maybe 12 years ago that I had this patient. She came to me with skin rashes. You may call them welts. In Jamaica, we call them wales. Blotches, red, itchy on the skin that would pop out at random times. You may call it an allergy. So she got these blotches all over her body, and they'd itch intensely, and they'd last for hours. She'd be up at nights itching. This went on for weeks. She went to the doctor, got antihistamines. The effect of that was only temporary. She went back, she got steroids. That didn't do much, which was quite a big surprise. She went to a dermatologist who put her on even stronger medication multiple times a day, but she still had the problem every single day, especially in the evenings. So she was referred to an allergist, someone who specializes in just allergy. And in an attempt to figure out what was causing the allergy, they said, listen, we're going to put you on a simple diet and then do an allergy test. So they took her off everything. She was allowed to eat only white stuff, little rice, little flour, drink water, and maybe there was some fish that she could have. Basic stuff. And can you believe it? When she went on that diet, the allergies got worse. So then it dawned on me that, okay, maybe there is something here in these few things that she's consuming that's causing it. And it was very minimum amount of things. And so I said, it could be flour, which was kind of crazy because she's been having flour all her life. And so I said, let's take you off flour. And guess what happened? The rashes went away. 2 days, 3 days. And then they came back. And I said, what did you eat? Oh, she didn't remember. She had, what was it? Maybe soup with noodles. Those little things. Triggered off. So we then had to go through a process of eliminating every trace of flour from her diet. But whenever she would have a little bit, which was in a lot of things, it would just come right back. So her problem was kind of fixed, but it wasn't fixed. And so that started a process that lasted 9 months where I had to reset her gut. This is something new. If you have any medical knowledge, it sounds impossible. Reset her gut. So 9 months later, she could have flour and not have a reaction. So her allergy was cured. That was my first patient who I cured allergy in. That was my wife. Yes. So I had to read books and research and go to school to cure her, and I did. And so yes, gut health does impact a lot of things, and we can do a lot to heal the gut. And having had such personal experience, I remember we used to stay up in the night, itching. I'm itching, she's crying. We went to a hotel once to enjoy her anniversary, and we were in the room on her anniversary, scratching. She's scratching her leg, I'm scratching her back. It was horrible. I had to do something. And so this evening I'm going to teach you how to reverse many, many diseases that concerns gut health. So let's get into it. Again, you see the picture for those of you who are here for the first time. I'm a functional medicine doctor, and I practice what we call root cause medicine. Yes, treating symptoms is sometimes necessary. If you're having pain, you may want to take a painkiller, but that doesn't solve your problem long term. Yes? If you're having itching, you may want to take an antihistamine. No, because it's intense, but that doesn't solve your problem. So I want to go beyond just treating symptoms and get to root causes, turning off the faucet, and things that you thought were incurable becomes within the realms of curable. It was many, many years ago, over millennia, that Avicenna said the knowledge of anything, since all things have cures, is not acquired or complete unless it is known by causes. So this common sense approach to disease is not something new. It's something from ancient times. He said, therefore, in medicine we ought to know the causes of sickness and the causes of health. And I'm going to teach you both. There is a recipe for disease and there's a recipe for health. And, of course, the father of medicine, Hippocrates, said all diseases begin in the gut. All is maybe a little exaggeration, but many, many, and maybe most diseases have their root causes in the gut, from Alzheimer's to allergies, autoimmune disease, diabetes, many diseases that you never thought were gut-related. I'm going to show you how they are. Now, look at the screen. Now, your gut, your intestinal tract, is just a complex tube that runs from your mouth to your anus. That's what it is, a long tube running through your body. And the fiber or the substance of that tube is you, but the hole inside it is not you. That's your gut. And your gut is to take food that you eat, that you put into that hole, break it down into bits that can be absorbed to feed your body. and at the same time prevent harmful parts of the food and waste to pass out. So your gut is that tube. We're going to use that concept this evening. In real life, it's a little more complex. Has many parts running from your mouth down to your esophagus, to your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and it has a couple of appendages attached, which includes your liver and your gallbladder and pancreas, which produce various juices and enzymes, bile acids to digest your food. So there's a little bit of complication, and it gets even more complex when we get down to the microscopic level. So it's not just a tube. If we go to that tube and we zoom in, we see these finger-like projections coming out of the tube surface. We call those villi, and they are designed by our Creator to increase the surface area for absorption. Just like I told you this morning, God, in His amazing wisdom, coiled or wrapped your DNA around His stone so that 6 feet of DNA could hold 50 billion times, trillion times, into your body. That could stretch to the moon and back many times, your DNA end to end. It's in your body. The villi in your gut increases the surface area. And as you go down, you see the villi in more detail. And this villi, in you, Ruth, or in anybody else, if you take the intestinal tract and spread it out, it would cover a whole tennis court that's inside your gut. That's how wide it is, but God coiled it up and wrapped it up in a way that it could fit in you, where you need all that surface to absorb food to feed your body. Isn't that amazing? It says here, the gut lining stretched out, size of a tennis court, and apart from just absorbing food, and these facts are important, I want you to remember them, 2/3 of your immune system, yes, is in your intestine. So that immune system that you think was just in your blood, fights disease, 2/3 of it is in your intestinal tract. It starts from in your mouth, those things they call your tonsils. That's part of your immune system. They produce white blood cells, and lining the entire tract, there are factories for white blood cells that are going to help you to fight diseases and infections. In fact, every time you eat a morsel of food, there is a possibility and almost a certainty that you're taking in germs with that food. Germs off your hand, germs off the kitchen counter. Wash your hands a million times, there's going to be germs there. I guarantee you. And you're taking that in. How does these germs not kill you every single day? Because of the immune system that is lining intestinal tract. That's where germs enter your body most. And your body is designed to have immune cells right throughout to monitor and screen every ounce of food for germs and kill it to make sure it doesn't kill you. And that's why your immune system is there. So every time you eat, your body's immune system stops whatever it is doing and focuses attention on your intestinal tract. And so the more often you eat per day, the less time your immune system has to fight cancer, to fight other diseases, to get rid of bad cells in your body. So the more often you eat, the more worn out and tired your immune system is, because immune system function is heavily focused on what you're taking in. So eating 3 times a day is okay, but eating 2 times a day is better. That makes sense, right? Yes. You don't want to be eating 3 times a day and snacks in between. Your immune system never gets to rest. And it has to rest. And that's why, for example, when you get a flu or a cold, what happens to your appetite? It goes, because your body is saying, listen, I have work to do. I have no time to look up the food and to focus on this flu. So I don't want you to eat anything for 3 days or 2 days. I want to focus on getting you better. And you probably will not die, but you get better faster if you eat less. It's a biological common sense for when you're sick with infections to eat less often, not more. Right? If you have cancers, that's what happens too. Your appetite goes. So your immune system can fight the cancer. So you don't want to be feeding yourself 5-6 times a day. These are basic principles of how the body functions. So when your child has a flu, don't try to force feed them and think that they're going to die if they don't eat all the food that you want them to eat. No, they're not going to die. They may lose a few pounds in a few days, but they'll get better faster. All right. The intestinal tract is home to 60 to 100 trillion bacteria. So there are bacteria, germs that live inside your intestinal tract. And in fact, there are about 50 trillion cells in your body. So bacteria may outnumber your body cells at minimum, well, by some estimates, 2 to 1. So there are more bacteria cells in your body than you have human body cells. And most of them are in your intestinal tract. Now, what are they doing there? And why are you not dead? Well, in fact, this bacteria is called your microbiome. Yes? They are there to assist your immune system and teach your immune system. They are the good bacteria. So in your body is a whole host of good bacteria. And from the moment you're coming through your mother's birth canal, that's where they start to get inoculated and start to thrive. So your mother's birth canal, when you're being born, has bacteria in it, the vagina. And as a baby coming out, you swallow some of her vaginal fluids. And you get your first dose of good bacteria. And that will determine to a large extent your immune health. So imagine a child who is born by C-section. That child is going to be born with some deficiency in good bacteria. Well, C-section is necessary. And in the UK here, they pioneered a new technique called a vaginal swipe because they found that kids who were born by C-section had higher rates of allergies and autoimmune diseases. So what they pioneered here in the UK was that when a child is born by C-section, the gynecologist put his hand in his mommy's vagina and put his finger in the baby's mouth to suck on it for a few seconds to get the dose of bacteria needed for the immune system to start being taught what's good and what's bad. Yes. So we found out that this bacteria is very important, even from birth. And so things like antibiotics kill the good bacteria, and so the less of them you take as children, the better off you are. But of course, many times they are necessary. So we have probiotics and probiotic foods to help you recover. And you'll learn those in a minute. Now, the amount of bacterial gene in your intestinal tract, based on the amount of bacteria you have, is 100 times more than your human genes. Now, this might be a little difficult to appreciate. Now, genes code for proteins which determine body functions and characteristics. So, the color of your skin, color of your hair, color of your eyes, how tall or short you are, what enzymes you make are determined by genes. But bacteria in your gut have genes and they produce chemicals 100 times more than what you produce. And so what we have found is that bodily characteristics that you have, mental state, are determined by products made by bacteria in your gut. In fact, vitamin B12 is not made by plants, it's not made by animals, it's made by a bacteria. That essential vitamin would never exist without bacteria in the gut of humans and cows and pigs and so on. They are very important. In fact, there is a chemical in your brain called serotonin. That's a chemical that's low when you have depression. And we give you medication called SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, to increase serotonin in your brain. What we found is that most of the serotonin in your brain is not made in your brain. It's made in your gut by the interaction of bacteria and the nerves in your gut. And then that serotonin leaves your gut and go to your brain. Now imagine if you have inadequate bacteria in your gut, you don't make enough serotonin. So what you get? Depression. What's the treatment? Fix the gut. Never thought it could work that way, did you? So this gut bacteria, and this is just, I'm just giving you a few of the thousands of functions of your gut. So be careful what you put down there. You could be killing or causing to thrive those important gut bacteria. All right, we're getting to some more interesting stuff. There are about 200 to 1,000 species of bacteria in your gut. Yes, so you have a very diverse, what we call flora. And the more diverse it is, the better your health. All right, let's move on. Now, the bacteria in your gut is determined by genetics, the environment. You're born C-section, where they grow up, around pets, for example. So, having a pet is a good thing. All right, so we have what we call now the hygiene hypothesis. Like in modern times, everything is so clean. We got to sanitize. Babies cannot go on the ground. So what we found is that with modern hygiene and being more germophobic, we have more allergies and immune system problems because the kids aren't exposed to a wide variety of bacteria, so the immune systems aren't taught well. So yes, put the kids on the ground. Get them a pet, let the dog lick their hands. It's part of teaching their immune system. If you got to eat an apple, you got to wash it 1,000,000 times with soap and... come on, let's eat the apple. It's not going to do you anything. Where I come from in Jamaica, you pick the apple off the tree and eat it the same way. You pick the yeah? You walk barefoot. Yeah. Yes, I still do. So, germs can be good. In fact, they can be great. Your diet will determine the bacteria in your gut. Now, there are bad bacteria, there are bad fungi, there are bad viruses, and there are some good ones. And would you guess? Well, I'll give you one part of the answer. The good bacteria feed on fiber, the trash in your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts and grains. They feed on fiber. Would you guess what the bad bacteria feed on? Amen. Sugar. So when I say to you, you must avoid sugar, I'm not exaggerating because you're feeding the guys that are going to harm you by eating sugar. Yes, you're feeding the candida. That yeast is going to raise your blood sugar. It doesn't just cause yeast infection and thrush in babies. It causes a whole host of problems. And would you believe if I tell you that this germ candida, which is a fungus, it releases a chemical in your body that causes you to crave sugar. So you may say you have a sweet tooth and you believe that it's really you really want the sugar. No, there's a guy in your gut who wants the sugar, so he's telling your brain, I love sugar, so eat sugar. So you are being controlled and you don't even know it. So I'm hoping I'm setting somebody free this evening. So if you know that it's not really you and it's somebody who doesn't like you, yeah, it's really important stuff. Lifestyle, yeah. And I want to say something here. The people you hang around with, they're going to touch you, talk in your face, share your food with you. They transfer their bacteria to you. So if you're hanging around with somebody who smokes and they have lots of bad bacteria, you're going to get that and your body going to behave as a smoker even though you don't smoke. If you're around with somebody who eats lots of fast food, you're going to get their bacteria. This is really important stuff. So you need to choose carefully what you eat and who you hang around with. Amen? Hormones play a big role. And, what's happening in the environment, pollution and so on. Now, these bacteria in your nostrils, they cause mucus production, which may be good to help to trap dust and so on. They produce chemicals that will kill other germs. A good bacteria can help to kill bad germs. So you want to have a good quality and good amount. In your mouth, bacteria help to break down food and ward off bad germs. In your lungs, they lubricate the lung tissue and prevent lung collapse. In your stomach, they prevent gastric complications like peptic ulcers. But there's a bad bacteria in the gut, stomach that may cause ulcers. It's called H. pylori. Maybe you've heard of it. So there are bad bacteria that can induce an ulcer. In the colon, they digest carbohydrates and make a product called alpha-butyric acid. So the bacteria in your colon break down the fiber and produce a chemical called alpha-butyric acid. And guess what that's for? That is what your colonic cells use for energy. So for your colon to be healthy, you have to have healthy bacteria there to provide their food. The symbiosis between you and your gut bacteria is amazing. In your sexual organs, females, it's what maintain your pH balance. Yes, so gut bacteria in your vagina, for example, will determine if you have an acidic vaginal pH, which is healthy. The bacteria in your vagina, females, will make sure that your vaginal pH is acidic, which is good to kill germs and kill sperms that you don't want to get pregnant by. And if you have lots of bad bacteria, you may get an infection called a bacterial vaginosis, or you may get a yeast infection frequently because there's an imbalance in the good versus the bad bacteria. And that's very, very annoying and costly. And I have a very important demonstration, Ruth, that's going to give the females a secret little recipe to completely fix their vaginal problems. So you don't want to miss that presentation. I'm going to tell you which one, because I want it to come to everyone. All right. So it's a free hack for vaginal pH. And skin, of course, bacteria determine the scent your skin gives off. So are you having a bad body odor? Maybe. We could fix that by fixing your microbiome. All right, so here is a close-up view of the villi, lines your intestine, and inside it you have this lacteal lymphoid tissue that absorbs fluids, and you have the vein and the arteries. Each of these, and they are one cell layer thick. So food and bacteria are out here, and your bloodstream is in here, and there's one cell that separates the two. This is very important. So there's a very thin lining that separates danger from your bloodstream. Between each cell, that line, so we're getting a little bit zoomed in now. So these are the individual cells that line the intestinal tract. They are connected by these tight junctions. Yeah? And it's between these cells that food get absorbed, and sometimes bacteria can get in. if these tight junctions are damaged, then things begin to get from the intestinal lining into the bloodstream. So having these little guys, I know I'm getting deep into the science, I'm going to break it down so you can follow. This is very important. This slide is very important. This is normal. This is a leaky gut. And when this happens, we call that leaky gut syndrome, because things that would be regulated here, we can determine by opening this slightly what goes in and what doesn't go in. When this is damaged, anybody can walk straight into your bloodstream. That's really bad. This is a picture of the stomach. I'm going to spend a little time here because we're talking about the entire gut. I'll get back to that one. Now, in your stomach, you have the same setup. You have the cells that line the stomach and the bloodstream down here. And then up here you have, anybody know what these H plus represents? What would this be up here? Hydrochloric acid. This is acid. And in the stomach, the pH is about 2 to 3. And that's really strong acid. The stomach acid, if placed on your skin, it would burn you. Comes in your mouth, it would burn you. But it doesn't burn the stomach because of this here. This is bicarbonate. So this is a buffer zone. So there is a adherent layer of mucus with bicarbonate in it that separates the acid from your stomach cells. This is key because the acid, if it comes in contact with these, it would burn. Yeah? So when you have stomach burning, yeah, or you have an ulcer, what you have is not too much acid, no. What you have is loss of this buffer layer. And so the acid comes in contact with here. So the treatment for it is not necessarily to reduce the acid, which is what we do with antacid. We need to restore this layer here. And there's a supplement, a herb, a food that you'll start tomorrow in your detox that does just that. What's that? Aloe vera. That's one of the most natural ways to restore this buffer layer. Another product does it called slippery elm. Grow aloe vera in a pot. Awesome stuff for your stomach. Yes. Put in cold water, you can swallow it as it is. So if you have a acid reflux, stomach ulcer, stomach burn, peptic ulcer disease, aloe vera has to be part of your healing process as it restores the natural protective layer for your stomach. All right, so you get the first prescription right there. All right, let's go down. All right, so here we are looking again at breaking intestinal lining. Let's skip to this one. Yes. So we're going to go back to leaky gut syndrome, where here we see a normal lining. Cells are tightly packed together, and whatever goes in is going to be regulated by the cells and by their enzymes. Over here we got loss of the gap junctions, and so we see viruses going in, toxins going in, bacteria going into the bloodstream. So imagine all of these bad guys getting into your bloodstream. That's going to cause a lot of problems. So if these viruses get in and they go to your heart, they may cause an endocarditis or a brain infection, encephalitis. If they go to your joint, some of these toxins, they may cause an arthritis. You get into your thyroid, you get thyroiditis. There are so many diseases that these are going to cause that you thought we didn't know the cause for. If you have this and things get into your bloodstream, they enter your entire body and circulate anywhere. And you get a host of diseases. You do not want this. And that's called leaky gut syndrome. Now, let's skip that one. We did that already. All right. So, what causes your gut to become leaky? What damages the lining of your intestine? Well, one, start down here, medications. So there are many medications, like pain medications, like ibuprofen. Yes, that's definitely known to cause this. So you don't want to be taking these medications too often for every single pain you have. If you can find sometimes some natural ways of treating your pain that's in your best interest, sometimes they are necessary. I know pain. Pain is not nice. But you have to understand that the effect on your body is not simple. It may last for years and may trigger off diseases that you may have to take lots of medication to heal. Deficiencies in nutrients that we spoke about this morning. These gap junctions are maintained by proteins called collagen, which depend on vitamin C and amino acid proline. They are dependent on zinc and selenium. If you're deficient, then you gotta have breaks in your intestinal lining, so you can't afford to have deficiencies. You have to have sufficiency of nutrient to maintain them. Toxins. So these are found in your food, by the way. So if you get a drink for your child and it has a red color, it might have red number 40 in it, which is a known toxin that damages your intestinal lining. If you have any food that is labeled GMO, it may have glyphosate or Roundup in it, which is a known toxin that induces intestinal permeability. So you have to have very clean food without many ingredients. Impaired digestion. If you have any disease at all, chronic disease like kidney disease, inflammation of any type, dysbiosis refers to bad bacteria. So we're saying that if your bacteria is off, too many bad bacteria by eating too much sugar, not enough good bacteria by taking too many antibiotics. So whenever you have a simple cold or flu, ask your doctor, do I really need an antibiotic? Am I going to get, or do I have a pneumonia or a bronchitis? Or is it a simple cold? Because most people give them antibiotics for colds do not need them. And I have patients coming to me begging me for antibiotics. And I have to sometimes resist because I know the dangers when they are used overzealously. They are necessary sometimes, they are life-saving. We have to use them responsibly. Infections of any type. And here, this big one, stress. Overnight, severe stress can induce an ulcer and dysbiosis and leaky gut. So stress is something that we're going to talk about as a presentation by itself. But suffice to say now, stress is something that you should try to manage effectively. And all of us are going to be faced with stress. So you have to become very good at stress management. Anybody, rich or poor, black or white, slim or plump, male or female, child or adult, you're going to have stress. Yes, the 3 and 4-year-olds have their sets of stresses too. May not be as big as yours, but they're going to be stressed too. So everybody needs to become very good at stress management. Food allergy sensitivities, intolerances, this is very important. If you are allergic to a food or intolerant or eat a food and it makes you sick, you need to avoid it, no matter how good it tastes. If you get the runs from getting ice cream, it means there is an inflammatory process that is set off in your intestine by eating it, and that's going to induce leaky gut syndrome in your body. It's very important you do not take foods that you're allergic to or intolerant to. Your body is sending you a very strong message. Now, if you have leaky gut from any of these, you're going to have the following. Food allergies may result from it. So you get food allergies, and these may present as eczemas, psoriasis, autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, Sjogren's, SLE, asthma. These are allergy conditions. Poor nutrition because you're not absorbing properly. An increased uptake of toxins into your body, which is going to cause a whole host of other diseases. Here are the list of diseases that have been shown to be intimately linked to leaky gut syndrome. Alzheimer's. Yes? Inflammation of the brain, intimately linked with bacterial toxins getting into your blood and into your brain. Parkinson's disease, same thing. Substantia nigra in the brain gets damaged. Diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Autoimmune diseases, and the list of autoimmune diseases is about 150 long. So many diseases fall in this category. Rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease. Sepsis infections, Crohn's disease, autoimmune disease, ulcerative colitis. Fatty liver disease, which is kind of an epidemic now. If you've done an ultrasound recently, chances are you were told that you have fatty liver disease. 20 years ago, maybe 30, we'd see this in alcoholics. But now we're seeing it in regular people. Why? Because of something we're consuming. It's called high fructose corn syrup. It's a type of sugar, just cheaper than sugar and sweeter than sugar, that's made from GMO corn. And it's in almost every product that is sweet, even in your toothpaste. So you're going to try to look at the labels that you're eating from and using, and does it have high fructose corn syrup, or HFCS, or fructose, or fruit sugar? There's these different names that you'll learn. I'll teach you them. And you're going to try to avoid foods that contain, because this is going to give you fatty liver disease, which we know the next step is cirrhosis. On the good side, there are lots of good bacteria, and there are a few names here, and this will come in your handout if you join the 14-day Flat Belly Challenge. So if you haven't heard about it, tomorrow morning, we're starting the 14-day Flat Belly Challenge, which is not just for flat belly, it's to heal your gut, get rid of your headache issues, your pain issues, lose weight, build your immune system. So a one program that's designed to teach you how to take care of your body. And it's all free for 14 days. So everybody should join. And you're going to learn how to build your good bacteria and avoid the bad bacteria, which causes diseases. As I said, your gut and your gut bacteria is the root of all of these problems. If you fix this, you fix a lot of these problems. Let me see the time now. All right, time almost done. Let's get to the fix. All right. So the fix is going to be based on a research done by Dr. Fasano, an Italian who migrated to America at the Celiac Research Institute at Cleveland Clinic. So he did a landmark study which showed us that if we fix the gut, we can get rid of most autoimmune diseases. And I'm going to just skip over some of these to give me a handout and get to where I want to go to, which is the fix. I did some of these already. Let's get to the fix. So these are some diseases that may occur in the gut that you may have. This is important. This is very common. So some person may have abdominal cramps, mucus in the stool, constipation, diarrhea alternating, bloating and gas. These may be symptoms of IBS. And yes, what I'm going to talk about now will help you to fix that. To repair your gut, you need to do the 4-hour program. And yes, we're going to be doing 4-hour program in the 14 days, kind of. But you want to pay attention. So if you want to take a picture of anything, take a picture of this. But it will come in your handout. So this is the summary of the program I did with my wife 12 years ago. and I've done with hundreds of patients subsequently with amazing results, life-changing results. You will not hear this from your doctor. This was really a part of naturopathic medicine practice. I know the functional medicine doctors have adopted it because it's so transforming. So step one, the R1 is remove, which we're going to be removing from your body foods that you shouldn't have. And from your body, bacteria and virus and fungi that you shouldn't have by doing the detox. So you're going to get a 3-day detox, but really you need a 14-day detox if you have a problem like what we are describing here. All right, then we'll replace, that's the second R, replace the bad foods you took out with healing foods like what we had at lunchtime today. Lunch was beautiful. I saw green and red and yellow and orange and purple and browns and whites. I saw every color imaginable. I took a picture of my plate and sent to my wife and she was, wow, I'm sorry I didn't come. Thank you to the hospital department of the Watford SDA Church. Keep it up. At this rate, you will have no sick people left in your church. We're going to repair with healing supplements and foods, and at the end, rebalance with probiotics. I'm going to just go through quickly. So remove, we put you on a diet called elimination diet, and basically, we're going to eliminate all the flour, all the sugar, all the rice, all the cornmeal, all of the soy products, all of the alcohol, all of the bad foods from your diet, so you'll get this handout in the challenge. You see how important it is to join the challenge? You're going to miss all this, Your friends are going to miss all of this if they don't join the challenge. So we're removing all of these bad foods, toxins from your diet, bacteria from your gut, unhealthy foods, stress. So in the challenge, we're going to have deep breathing and relaxation and stress management techniques taught. You're going to have to do your affirmations every morning. Right? Yes. And we're going to help you to come off medications that you're dependent on. No, I'm not telling anybody to just stop their medication tomorrow, but this is always going to be done. As you do the challenge, and as you start feeling better, you're going to go back to your doctor and say, Doc, can you check me again and see how my blood pressure is doing, how my blood sugar is doing? And when you start feeling better and you start having better numbers, your doctor's going to be forced to take you off your medication. So I'm not sending anybody home to stop their medication. I'm not going to put any of you in danger. If you're on medication, please be patient and be slow and start changing simple habits and let your doctor take you off your medication based on how you're doing, okay? Is that clear? All right. All right. These are 5 worst foods for your gut. Of course, sugar didn't make the list because it's number 0. It's the most important one to stop. So, all right. So let's remove, replace. You're going to be replacing. Yes, so remove processed meats, which we spoke about this morning. Gluten, which is those nice stuff that you guys, I know in England they love tea and bread, toast and tea. Yeah, I'm so sorry to be upsetting your pattern of behavior that you've enjoyed for so many years. But just 14 days. And if you feel better, maybe you'll continue. If not, I'm just talking crap, right? All right, artificial sweeteners, which is going to be your Equal, your NutraSweet, your aspartame, all of those sugar substitutes. If you have a drink that tastes sweet and it says no sugar, don't drink it. It probably has an artificial sweetener which is worse than sugar, right? And you learn about that in toxins. Food additives, this is going to be hard, but we're going to be trying to do whole foods as much as possible. And alcohol, of course, which we already would have. Once you join off this club here, you would have already been avoiding alcohol. All right, replace with, this looks like my plate today, Ruth, doesn't it? Yes? Healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. Yes?
digestive enzyme. So if you're having digestion problems, bloating and gas, you may want to get digestive enzyme. This is a great brand. I'm not associated with this brand. I do not make any money. You can get it on Amazon. That's Dr. Josh Axe's brand, one of my colleagues from the US. So he makes these supplements. Stomach acid. So some persons, and these would need to be recommended after consultation. So if you're having a particular issue and you think that you might benefit from these, maybe you want to have a little chat with me one of these days, or link me on the WhatsApp group, which we'll have, and you'll talk to me and I'll say, okay, you need to get this one and that one. But these are what you might need. Bile salts. These are persons who are having severe digestive problems. We actually have supplements with acid in it. And we may give you supplements like omega-3 and vitamins and so on if we think your diet isn't sufficient. And repair is essential. This is the third step in your 4-step gut repair. And this is going to be dependent on you taking some supplements, L-glutamine, which is one of the things that your gut bacteria makes, but if they're off, they're not going to make enough. You could get this in supplement form on Amazon again. Bone broth, you can get that in supplement form. And these are going to be important to take for about 2-3 months for step 3 in your gut repair. So if you have diseases that were mentioned before, you definitely want to be going through this process. And I'll start you off and give you the full protocol. And of course, re-inoculate with probiotics. I tend to do probiotics that are in the order of 100 billion or more. So there are probiotics you could get with 5 billion, 10 billion. Basically useless. You want to go for high doses, multiple strains. Probiotic foods, which are going to be your fiber, vegetables and fruits. Those are going to feed the good bacteria. There are some probiotic foods that you might be familiar with. Things like kimchi, kombucha. You familiar with those names? Miso, natto. Yes. Oh, tempeh. Okay. Familiar with that. Pickles, maybe. Yes. Fermented foods. These foods contain bacteria, maybe Greek yogurt. Yes. Coconut yogurt. These are good, healthy probiotic foods that has bacteria in them that are good lactobacilli, bifidobacteria that will feed your gut bacteria. You definitely want to be getting these into your system to replenish your gut bacteria. Now, just like your gut, we're wrapping up now, as I like to be on time. I want to keep it too long. Just like your gut is the window to your body. That's where things enter, yeah, and have their impacts on your different body systems. So your senses are the windows to your soul. So we're here not just to feed the physical body, we want to feed the mind and help you to grow spiritually. And so letting in the wrong things into your gut through the mouth can cause disease and infirmity. And letting in the good things can make you well and healthy. Are you following? It is the same for your spiritual life. If you let in bad things through what you see, smell, touch, hear, and taste, you make your mind unhealthy. But if you let in through your windows to your soul, things that are good, pure, holy, Paul says, of good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, you're going to meditate on those things. There's this book that I love. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. It's written by a very well-known author, James Allen. This is a book that takes about an hour to read. It's called As a Man Thinketh. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's how the book is named. This book has these 5 points which changed my life. It's not a Christian book, but the book teaches us, and this is a principle, that you get information from your environment through what you see, through what you taste, through what you smell, through what you touch, through what you hear, And this information will inform what you think. This informs your thoughts. And the sum total of your thoughts will determine your actions. I'm talking to adults and children, parents. It's your thoughts, the sum total of your thoughts determine your actions. So if you see somebody who's doing really evil things, if you got a chance to look into their mind, you'd see what they were thinking about. That's how your thoughts manifest. Your actions regularly determine your habits. So something repeated regularly over time determine your habits, good or bad. And it's your habits that will determine your character. So if you want to change somebody's character, do you whip them with a whip to say you need to change what you're doing? No, you need to go from the top. What are you feeding your body and your mind? That will determine the outcome. This is where it starts. That's your point of contact. So as you leave here this evening, I want you to dwell on the things that are really important, that are under your control. What am I putting into my body? What am I putting into my mind? That's what you have control over. Once you put it in, the thoughts are going to be almost automatic. If you're watching unhealthy content, you're not going to be able to think healthy thoughts. So don't try to force your mind to think about no. What you have control over is what you put in. So be mindful, be thoughtful, be deliberate, be intentional about what goes into your body. That will determine the outcome. Ellen White says, those who would not fall prey to Satan's devices must guard well the avenues to the soul. They must avoid reading, seeing, or hearing what will suggest impure thoughts. So Ellen White agrees with James Allen, who agrees with the Bible. And Paul says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest. Let's go together. Let's read together. Whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. I'm done. Good evening. See you tomorrow.